This time on the Highland Woodworker.
The first job I was able to get was at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
Master woodworker Alex Jaynes got his start in rocket design before being thrust into furniture design. We'll take a tour of some of his smart and functional pieces, plus get a glimpse into what could be the workshop of the future. Make your next project smile by creating a shop-made arc. Popular Woodworking Magazine shows us how. These stories and more this time on the Highland Woodworker. Hello, I'm Charles Brock and I'm a Highland Woodworker. Highland Woodworking has all the tools that you need, hand tools, power tools, and everything in between. Highland Woodworking is in Atlanta, Georgia. If you can't make it to the store, then go to highlandwoodworking.com. Order what you need, they'll deliver it straight to your door. Do you ever get the sense that you may be outgrowing your workshop or don't have the budget or the space to house large equipment? We're going to take you to a shared workspace in Knoxville, Tennessee, where a group of full-time professional woodworkers pool their resources and make their wood art and a living. Plus, we'll meet Alex Jaynes, a member of this group who specializes in smart, balanced, and functional furniture design in our moment with a master. I'm here in Knoxville, Tennessee at the Jackson Terminal, and Alex Jaynes.
Thanks for coming by to see us.
Oh, this is wonderful. Tell me about the Jackson Terminal and what's taking place here.
So this is the Jackson Terminal building in the heart of the old city, downtown Knoxville. This is a former railway terminal for Knoxville. There's train tracks still running behind the building. And behind me here is Able Trade. It's a shared workshop and studio space for professionals to create their wares and make a living doing it.
So Alex, this is the common area.
Yeah, so this is where most of the woodworking takes place. Back here behind us we have communal workbenches, shared space for weekend members to come in and work on projects, collection of clamps, nice big open tables for doing large glue-ups.
A couple of table saws.
Yeah, we try to have at least 2 of everything.
Every kind of stationary tool that a woodworker would need is really very beautifully crafted into this space with dust collection. Whether you were doing solid woodwork or working with plywood, it looks like it accommodates everything.
That's the goal. Try and make sure that we've got everything anybody would need, more or less, and you know, a mixture of new tools and older tools.
Now, this is more for the full-time woodworker who's making a living here. It's not for the hobbyist in this situation.
Yeah, so what kind of sets Able Trade apart from other maker spaces is its focus on professionals. People who are doing this full time, who need a fully equipped shop that they can rely on, and come in and do their work and make a living.
Is it becoming harder to do that with a home shop?
You know, depending on the projects that you work on, obviously, but having access to a space this large and even machines that are this big provides additional efficiency if you are doing a large commercial project where you need to make a whole bunch of tabletops or rip down a bunch of stock. Like I said, having the power feed, especially on the table saw, having a full shaper, stuff like that. It's just a little easier to get through stuff quicker.
And you've got some other professionals who are working in spaces close by, and when you need things,
Absolutely, yeah. You can share both manpower as well as mind power. There's often times when you need to flip a large tabletop. Just being able to shout to the next guy to give you a hand is a huge help. Similarly, if you're trying to tackle some funky joinery, and you can imagine 5 different ways to do it, having somebody there that you can bounce ideas off of is always helpful too. Yeah, so part of building the community is not just the community of the people in the shop, but the whole community around this space. We really wanted to kind of create a hub where people could come through. If somebody has an idea for something that they need, they can come here and somebody will be able to help them out.
The diversity of woodworking and all of those that kind of fit under that umbrella, a lot of those different makers are here, from a small shop like this to a fella that's doing, what did you say, robotics?
Yeah, so this is a company that is building these 3D printing robots to do large scale 3D printing.
Yeah. And so that kind of information, having that resource close by, can help with your growth in so many ways. And like, I think you told me this gentleman here is somebody who develops CNC hardware.
Yeah, so we're fortunate enough to have Sumanth as a member. He's a mechanical engineer for Inventables, helping develop the X-Carve machines. So
wow,
we have an X-Carve.
Yes.
We have the machine, and we have the person who knows every single nut and bolt on that machine.
Wow.
So if you have an issue or if you have a question, hey, can I do this? I'm thinking about doing this thing. What feed, speed, yada, yada.
So altogether, it all helps with whatever the learning curve is for whatever you're doing.
Indeed. And it provides a whole bunch of different perspectives on how to approach a problem, solve a problem, and not just from a woodworking perspective.
All right, so this is the photography studio. Ha! Wow, how about that? Curved wall, it's all white. You get a great picture against that background in a hurry too.
Absolutely.
What happens? When do you need pictures?
So obviously, you want nice photos of your piece when you're done with it, but you're always working up against a deadline. You got to get that thing out of the door by the end of the week. So having this space just down the hall is so amazing. So this is my studio space. Each of the spaces here is built to size depending on what people need. My space is about 300 square feet. We have down to 150 and up to, I don't know, several thousand if that's what you need.
Wow, so it's really flex space. It can be whatever you need.
That's the idea.
Yeah, that's hard to find, and it's a great concept brought to reality here at Able Trade.
Yeah, we like to say if you need a place to make a mess and make a living, we've got it for you.
That's true makerspace. Well, Alex, this is a wonderful space, but I need to know something, want to know something about you. What made you become a woodworker? What was your journey?
Yeah, so I grew up in Knoxville, more or less, born in Massachusetts, but most of my life was here in Knoxville. And my mother studied and practiced for a little while in Boston as an interior designer. Mm-hmm. So I always had that appreciation for good design, well-made pieces. Both of my grandfathers were kind of tinkerers. I never actually did any woodworking with either of them, but with my dad's father, I actually rebuilt a '78 Mustang II. That was my first car. So there was always that like hands-on interest. And so I went to school at Auburn University for industrial design with the idea that I would be able to design cars. That's what I was into at the time. And went through school, learned a ton of great stuff. And then the first job I was able to get, fortunate enough to get, was at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, working as a human factors engineer. So doing kind of usability, worker efficiency, safety stuff for a rocket project that NASA was working on at the time. So as part of that group, we built full-scale mock-ups of sections of the rocket to do demonstration tests with engineers or ground crew to simulate assembly and maintenance of this rocket before it was going to get launched. And all of that full-scale mock-up and everything was wood and foam core, mostly. A few of the like specialty items we got sent out to get 3D printed or whatever. But so as like a young man in my early 20s with his own place for the first time, I didn't have any furniture, but I had access to a wood shop and enough of an ego to think that I could do it.
Well, it takes that, yes.
Yeah, you have to be a little, I don't know, not self-possessed, but a little confident to take on these challenges. Fortunately, there were a few guys there who knew a little bit more than me about what they were doing, and were able to, guide me through my first like bookshelf and bed and coffee table and stuff like that.
Alex, I'd love to see some of your work.
Yeah, so this here is what I call the leaf table. It's a simple side table, occasional table. I say
there's
simple.
Nothing simple about this as a side table. It's kind of supported by some branches almost.
Indeed.
And an odd shaped but beautifully shaped top. It requires an explanation, but it is beautiful work.
Thank you. So this is actually the second version of this table that I've made. I had a woman come to me who wanted a side table that was three-legged. She'd seen some three-legged tables on, I don't know, West Elm or whatever that she liked. And so this was my interpretation of that. What you have is a single leg up top, joined to the top, staked, wedged. It comes down and it branches out in two directions. Figuring out the joinery for that was kind of fun. They're dominoed, but in order to figure out the legs and the angle and the positions of the feet, I actually made the top first, then used a laser level to get each leg kind of handheld under each point of the table.
Oh, smart.
To keep it nice and stable. So these are a couple other pieces that I have on hand, stuff that lives with me most of the time. A little stool here on the side, as well as a hanging wall cabinet.
Now, if you investigate these pieces, which I've been looking at them, I've noticed that this is not just a plain stool, that's not just a plain wall cabinet. There's some things there that draw interest, and that's one of the things that woodworkers need to do, is to incorporate interest in every project, whether it's a big project, small project. There's form, function, and hopefully the form or the function will bring interest to it. You've done a very nice job of that. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so what I've done on both of these pieces is incorporate one extra cut, maybe two extra cuts, to give you an interesting bevel, chamfer, facet, just something else to draw in the eye. So on the end, we have these two facets that come in to meet in the center. So instead of just one flat face across the end, you get these three triangles, giving a little bit of added interest. This angle actually is pretty close to the angle that the leg splays out. But it's also the same angle that I used on the long sides. So again, just a couple quick cuts.
Keeping these angles pretty much the same adds harmony instead of disharmony.
Absolutely, yeah. Trying to make everything speak to each other. How do the legs talk to the top? Well, they come through the top, so you get the tenons, but it's all stained, so you can't really see that. So how do you get that effect in a different way? And here it is through these little facets and the angles.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Now, the cabinet, I was really drawn toward a couple of the elements in the cabinet. You've got these chamfers on the inside of the stiles, and they're chamfered in, but then you've also got an angle here
on the pull.
Yeah, and they all work together to build an affinity for the eye. Plus you've got your hand-cut dovetails.
Similarly on the drawer with the half blinds. So this is actually repeating that same angle from the dovetails into the front of the case. So yeah, down here you get a nice little highlight up at the top. It gives you an interesting little shadow line.
And I love this in the back of the case here. You've got something that pulls the eye toward the center.
Yeah, so it's a tongue and grooved back on the case, keeping that seam, that joint in the center of the case, again lining up with the edge of the pull, continuing the angle on the side of the pull.
You're one of my favorite non-standard furniture makers, Alex Jaynes. How would you like to be remembered?
Well, that's a great question. I think for me, what would be important is for people to think of my work as pieces that they can come back to and always find maybe a little detail that they didn't notice the first time, and appreciating it every time, possibly for a different reason. That's really what gets me excited.
Later in the show, Alex takes us to the table saw and teaches us how he tackles those stylish bevels. But first, Popular Woodworking Magazine will keep you ahead of the curve in their Tips, Tricks, and Techniques segment. Stick around. You're watching the Highland Woodworker.
I'm just an average, down-to-earth woodworker. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably about a 5. But one place I score a perfect 10 is right here, and I plan on keeping all 10. That's why I have a SawStop Table Saw, and there's more. Plenty of power, superior dust collection, and absolute accuracy. These features have made it the best-selling cabinet saw in America. Let Highland Woodworking help you put a SawStop in your shop.
Meet the Bora Centipede, the lightweight and portable workshop table that supports up to 3,000 pounds, stores in a small space for tight shops, and opens into a work table to bring your work to a comfortable height. This makes the perfect companion for your track saw. Comes with X cups and hold downs to secure your work. Just add the Bora workbench top and you've got a great auxiliary table anywhere in your shop. Upgrade your shop today. Highland Woodworking stocks a wide selection of Rikon power tools, known for their innovative design and rugged durability. Highland has sold thousands of Rikon's industry-leading bandsaws with sizes to fit every woodworking need, from the compact affordable 10-inch model to competitively priced 14 and 18-inch models. Shop us also for Rikon's reliable planers, lathes, and professional low-speed grinder, all with an exceptional 5-year warranty. Rikon Power Tools. Whiteside Machine Company has been in business for over 30 years, providing customers with quality router bits. Fine Woodworking Magazine has declared Whiteside router bits best overall and best value when compared against 17 other brands. No matter the router application, They have the type and profile of carbide router bit you need. When you put a white side router bit to work in your shop, it is guaranteed to make you smile. I've been using Forrest products for years. You know, they're the maker of the Woodworker 2 saw blade. Gives great cuts on your table saw every time. Now I have a chop master for my miter saw. I have a dense piece of 2x2 walnut, and as you see, it cuts like butter, leaving clean cuts at 90 degrees. Forrest, the cuts will make you smile every time.
A great way to dress up furniture is to add some curves, especially on stretchers and rails, where you put a smooth, even curve along the bottom edge. Now, drawing that smooth, even arc can be a real challenge by hand. And what I like to do is use a strip of hardboard or pegboard that I cut from a scrap piece. Something like that is easy to bend into the shape I need. Unfortunately, I need an extra set of hands to actually draw in the curve. Now, a simple solution to that problem is to add a knotted string at one end, loop it through the opposite end, and then add this spring-loaded cord keeper. What that allows you to do is bend the hardboard into shape, and the cord keeper is going to hold everything in place. Now, this curve probably isn't going to match the arc I need, but that's simple enough to adjust. Just pulling on the string a little bit and then checking that it matches your curve. Now all I need to do is hold that in place, draw in my curve. I'll move over to the other side here, draw that, and what I end up with is a smooth, even curve, ready to head to the bandsaw and cut it out.
I'm just thrilled to show you the SawStop CTS, compact table saw, if you will. It's the first SawStop under $1,000. It comes with SawStop's patented safety system that stops the blade on contact with skin and drops it below the table in less than 5 milliseconds. It's ideal for home shops, particularly for use in small shops that are limited on space. The saw's heavy-duty construction makes it sturdy enough for use by contractors on the job site. Weighing 68 pounds is compact enough to be hauled in a car or pickup. A carry handle makes it convenient to transport the saw to wherever it's needed. An optional folding stand is available, while the saw is also designed to operate securely on a bench or sturdy table. Despite the saw's compact footprint, it has a lot of capacity. Its fence rails extend to allow a rip cut down the center of a 48-inch panel, giving it the same rip capacity as SawStop's larger, more expensive portable saw, the Job Site Pro. The CTS compact saw uses a 10-inch blade and allows a 3 1/8-inch depth of cut at 90 degrees and 2 1/8 inches at 45 degrees. Please note, you cannot use a dado blade with this saw. The built-in on-saw storage keeps handy everything that you need to adjust and operate the saw. This saw features a rack and pinion fence that's easy to adjust and easy to remove, and always remains square. The fence has a built-in high and low shelf to support all types of cuts. The quick tilt bevel feature with micro adjustments makes it easy to tilt the blade to your approximate angle and then further fine-tune the angle 1 degree at a time using the micro tilt adjust feature. The SawStop CTS will give you accurate results whether you're in your home shop or at the job site, and you'll keep these. That should make you smile. Coming up, making cutting-edge bevels with Alex Jaynes. You're watching the Highland Woodworker.
There's 4 words that Lee Tools lives by. 4 words that mean quality joinery to take your projects to the next level. Whether it's dovetails, box joints, or mortise and tenon. And we'll even help you clean up. Those 4 words: better tools, better results.
If you can't make it to Highland Woodworking in Atlanta, Georgia, you can shop online at highlandwoodworking.com. They're great at getting what you want to your shop quick. Let Highland's legendary wood slicer resaw blade help make it easy for you to get great results sawing thick lumber into thinner boards. The wood slicer is designed to cut much faster, smoother, and quieter than ordinary bandsaw blades. You'll be amazed at how smooth a surface you'll get with a wood slicer. Its variable tooth pattern greatly reduces noise and vibration. Order a wood slicer from Highland Woodworking for your bandsaw today. Alex, I can't wait to find out how you do these beautiful bevels on the end grain of this piece of wood.
I'd be happy to show you. So we're over here at the table saw. I have another piece that's similarly dimensioned, not exactly the same. So come in, measure off, you know, we're just trying to get close. Is it going to be exact on the first try? Probably not, but that's okay. So set the angle on your blade. And again, I'm not being super exact here.
Okay.
A lot of times on these, I kind of sneak up on it. So 6 3/8, come over halfway, just so we have a reference of our center line.
Center line, sure.
And then we are going to angle this sled over. And what I'm doing is just kind of eyeballing so that when I come across, we kind of hit the middle here with the bottom of the bevel. Like I said, it doesn't always have to be an exact science. Whoop. Something like that. Lock everything down. And then we'll give it a shot. So that gives us one side. What we do is we keep this angle the same. We check on the sled. We are at, what are we looking at? 5 degrees. So loosen it up, swing it back to 5 degrees the other way. And now, again, we scoot over a little bit. And we'll make a cut. So as you can see, the result here was a little different. Our point met kind of halfway down instead of at the peak, but honestly, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't have to be exactly the same every time. What you're doing here is just experimenting, playing around, and seeing what you come up with and how you feel about it.
You're kind of using the table saw to whittle away until you find something that is appealing.
Yeah, you're really just sculpting with the table saw, so you get these nice flat surfaces, easy enough to clean up with a block plane or sander. And once again, you just play around with your angles. Maybe you tilt the blade over more, maybe you tweak the angle of the fence a little bit, and see what you wind up with.
That's fascinating. I like the hunt for beautiful lines.
And like I said before, 2 cuts, what, couple minutes?
Yeah.
And there you go. You have not just a rectangle, but an added little feature and bit of interest on the end of your stool.
There you go.
Improve your woodworking experience. Sign up for Wood News Online, a monthly newsletter showcasing the latest news, tips, and classes Highland Woodworking has to offer. By signing up, you'll receive the latest episode of the Highland Woodworker, special store promotions, and Wood News Online delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up today.
Well, that's all the time we have left for this episode of the Highland Woodworker. Be sure to follow us on our social media channels, and until next time, I'm Charles Brock, and I'm a Highland Woodworker.